Marianne Sinclair, never mind. Michelle, come on. Sorry, hold on, Marianne.
I think I'm unmuted.
Oh, good. Marianne, I'm going to make you a co-host so you won't have to deal with this in the future.
Okay, well, we're good now. So the reading. Seeing with 2020 Spiritual Vision is the CSL theme for the year. April's theme is Bright Beginnings. Today's topic, the Great Awakening of Humanity. William Bridges wrote in Transitions, Making Sense of Life's Changes. Transition always starts with an ending. To become something else, you have to stop being what you are now. To start doing things a new way, you have to end the way you are doing them now. And to develop a new attitude or outlook, you have to let go of the old. Charles Fillmore wrote in the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary, metaphysical meaning of resurrection. Those who are being raised into the Christ consciousness will gradually, as their growth in understanding makes it possible, let go of all that is personal and selfish in their relationships and come into the larger love, the love universal. The divine law is fulfilled by the love universal. So let us speak this affirmation out loud together with enthusiasm. Today I am rising in love universal. I am a full participant in the great awakening of humanity. Letting go of all that is selfish and divisive, I write a new chapter of my life now that expresses the love I am in truth.
The time of the great awakening of humanity. Let's just contemplate that idea right now for a moment. I truly believe that what we are witnessing and what we are experiencing is a great opportunity. Last week I quoted something by one of our Native Americans that said we have two choices at this point in time. We can either fall into a hole, in the hole of the same old, or we can move through a portal into a higher state of being that has been known as Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, witness consciousness, God consciousness. So that is our choice, and we stand at the precipice of choice at this point in time. Just as the plant kingdom is producing new growth and rich in new blossoms that continue to unfold as we move through the spring, I believe that the hardship that we are experiencing as a collective in humanity due to this thing called COVID-19 is acting as an evolutionary driver. And when I say an evolutionary driver, that means to wake us up to who we are in truth, to support our spiritual growth, to support the blossoming of the human heart. What I'm hearing is being called the Great Awakening of Humanity. So today I'm going to be talking about three different things. The first one is I'd like to talk about Passover, honor Passover, which is April the 8th. It's just around the corner. And also its powerful metaphysical message for us here today as we move through this time in our lives. My second talking point will be on how to move through the emotional roller coaster that I'm sure many of us feel like we're on. seeing this as a global initiation. And the third talking point is to look for and give thanks for all of the many signs that this great awakening of humanity is taking place all around us, within us, and what we're seeing in the media. So first, let's talk about this thing called Passover, or the Passover, which is a festival that's celebrated by the Jews in all over the world. It's a commemoration of the liberation of the Israelites from enslavement to the Egyptians. And so that's the story. We talk about the different levels of reading these biblical stories, that there are many levels, and some of it's just the historical story. But what I want to look at today is to look through the same eyes that Jesus looked through when he thought of these things like Passover, like what is the deeper meaning for us in terms of consciousness? That's what metaphysical means, beyond the physical. So he used Passover as a metaphor for a transitory state of consciousness, of mind, between the old way of being and the new way of being, a new state of consciousness, which is what we're in right now. And we actually are all the time, but it's just more, there's more of an awareness at this point in time, is what I'm knowing. So this time of Passover, this transitory state then, is a time of letting go of the old self-protective, fear-based states of mind, and to instead do the inner work that's necessary to reveal our true natures, the Christ consciousness that already lies within us, our divine nature, which is love, which is peace, which is joy. We're made in the likeness and image of God. And so this revelation then is that open-hearted state that we're witnessing in the media right now, of people reaching out with their time, their talent, and their treasure to support others across the planet. And I've seen, I don't know how many of you've noticed, but Deb's song, We're All in This Together, that topic, We're All in This Together, is all over the media. Everybody seems to be getting it, that the time for divisiveness is over. The time for joining together and supporting one another and actually practicing love, universal love universal, is what this life living here on the planet is all about. There is a term that is so beautifully descriptive of this thing called the Passover, this state of being, this transitory state. It's called liminal space. Liminal space. It's defined as a threshold between the familiar way of being and the new possibilities of being. We are beings of infinite possibility and potentiality. So the new possibilities and the new potentiality. So it's that time between, that space between, liminal space. Author, theologian Richard Rohr said this about liminal space. He said, get there often and stay as long as you can by whatever means possible. He is inviting us into this space as something really rich and full of potential. He said, this is the sacred space where the old world is able to fall apart and the bigger world is revealed. The threshold is God's waiting room. Just as many of you waited in the waiting room online, this is God's waiting room. And he said that here we are taught openness and patience as we wait for our appointment with the divine doctor. I love that. So here in this liminal space then, we have an opportunity, if we choose to take it, to awaken to our unity with all life, to be a full participant in the great awakening of humanity. So that's Passover, subliminal space. The next talking point is global initiation. So here we are. We've been sent to our homes, right? We've been sent to our homes to prevent the spread of COVID-19. And so we have here, right in this moment, an opportunity to drop into, to enter. We're actually being invited. I'm inviting you. I know that spirit within you is inviting you to drop into this global liminal space, to join other beings across the planet in doing this. Here we are undergoing a global initiation. So it's us, yes, but we are part of a collective. So I'm seeing this as a global initiation where we face our fears. We face those patterns of thinking that don't serve us, that tell us that we're separate, that tell us we have to protect ourselves, to tell us we have to go out and buy all that stuff for ourselves before somebody else gets it. All that thinking that prevents us from looking at the bigger, broader picture of we're all in this together. So again, here in this state of this subliminal, global subliminal space, we as individuals and we as humanity can either fall into that hole of same old divisiveness, fear, combativeness, or we can move through the portal into that higher state of being, which is our true nature, our God nature. So the way through the portal then, this is the way of wisdom. It requires us to stop now, not some future time, but stop now the patterns that don't serve us. Release the emotions, the patterns that go with them, or the emotions that go with the patterns actually is the way it works. And that's not only patterns of thought, patterns of emotion, but patterns of behavior that don't serve us. And it's also a time to honor our feelings. I talked about this before, feeling your feelings fully. I woke up actually in the middle of the night last night, like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I could feel my heart pounding, and I could feel that I was in a state of fear. And so I realized I must have been suppressing some fear of reaction to what's going on in the media. And so knowing that, I started doing some deep breathing. I started reminding myself of my spiritual truth, that I am one with all that is, the presence of the divine. I'm in the arms of the infinite, fully protected. And I did some tapping. I've learned that tapping is a great way to just break up the emotional patterns and the thought patterns that go with them. Finally got myself into a relaxed state and went back to sleep. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about. We can do some of that on our own. However, it is so helpful to know that we are part of a spiritual community where we can reach out to one another, reach out to our practitioners. And a reminder, the practitioners' phone numbers, their pictures and phone numbers and names are on the website. So you can find that on the About Us section. Call a practitioner, ask for some prayer. Get the support that you need. And we also have classes. Mary Ann's class is coming up this week. It's a great opportunity to be in community with other people and to deepen into our spiritual teachings, to do this shadow work. That's what the time of initiation is, to do the shadow work, to break through the old patterns and to arise into this higher state of consciousness known as Christ consciousness that's available to all of us. It really means a state of oneness, a state of universal love, all-inclusive love for all beings everywhere. So yes, attending Sunday service is good, and thank you so much for being with us. It's also important, though, to get involved on a deeper level with community. We have a Power of 8 gathering right after service today, and that's a great opportunity to share healing and to receive healing from each other. You don't have to have any experience. So when we do this, when we reach out for support, I know that what we'll find is that we'll move through the hardship, the loneliness, the suffering, and the pain with greater ease. And we will complete our integration process of integrating this new way of being, this higher frequency state that's rooted in love. Point number 3, the signs of blossoming of a new humanity. There is a Talmud passage that goes like this. Every blade of grass has its angel that bends over it and whispers, grow, grow. Love that. So all of nature, especially in spring, is divinely designed to grow, to bring forth the new. This is the principle of growth that Thomas Troward talks about. So flower bulbs, think of a flower bulb, how it sits in the soil, and after a quiet inward time in winter, it prepares itself. And then when it begins to receive nurturance from the rain and the warmth of the soil, it begins to transform into something totally new. A plant, green stalks and leaves come up and beautiful blossoms like the ones that are right here next to me. And here's the thing, is that the small bulb has within it everything that's needed to produce the plant and the flower. And we too, as individualizations of God, children of the Most High, have within us the God seed, the God bulb, you could look at it however you want to, that is whole, perfect, and complete unto itself. Everything that is needed and necessary is there to produce the divine presence that we are, that Christ consciousness that I talked about, oneness consciousness, love consciousness, God consciousness. We are here to express our divinity. That's what we're here for. So this is a sign of blossoming. I'm seeing signs of this taking place all around us. And so I'm asking you to contemplate this on your own. What has been waiting within me that is now ready to bloom? And what signs am I already showing that I'm blooming or blossoming into a new version of myself? Albus Dumbledore of the Harry Potter series said, happiness can be found even in the darkest of times if one only remembers to turn on the light, the inner light. So I'm seeing signs of people turning on the inner light. I'm seeing signs of the great awakening of humanity taking place. And people turning on the light that's showing up as love for one another and the desire to be in service. So Dan, would you turn on the picture that I sent you? And I'll continue to tell you about one of the examples that I heard in the news. A spacesuit-like helmet ventilation device manufactured by a Texas mom-and-pop business is in high demand these days. Doctors across the world are putting in their orders for it to treat COVID-19 patients. The company called Ceylon Medical Systems Incorporated is in a small town of Waxahachie, run by Chris Austin. He previously received a few dozen orders a week, but once the COVID virus hit, he now has thousands of orders pouring in each day from all over the world, including places as far away as United Arab Emirates. The devices sell for, listen to this, $162 a piece. And they are not meant to replace ventilators that are needed for the really critical patients, that they are meant to provide oxygen and support for those who aren't quite as critically sick. And Chris is giving this design away to other companies so they can produce it and keep up with these thousands of orders that are in demand. Volunteers from his church are actually coming over and volunteering to help produce these devices. And also he says that the reason why he's giving it away the way he is because he can imagine what it would be like if one of his family members, which we really truly are all family, were to be told that, sorry, we don't have the equipment necessary to support you through this time of sickness. So he's driven by love universal. Other signs of awakening: people coming out on their balconies in cities across the world at designated times and applauding all of the healthcare workers, all the first responders that are out there putting themselves on the line to support humanity, to support us all, to support those who have gotten ill with the COVID-19. People are offering free meditations and seminars online. Marianne Rowan, one of our practitioners, she actually just was on a little while ago, is offering them daily from 9 to 9:30. And so, if you'd like to be part of her meditation, please contact her. Again, her name is on the website under our practitioners. And people are donating millions of dollars to buy equipment and supplies for hospitals. They're giving food to the hospital workers, food for children who normally get free food at school that may not otherwise be eating, making sure they get fed. Money is being sent in the millions and billions of dollars to research for the cure of COVID-19, for a vaccine. People are also volunteering their time. People are coming out of retirement. Doctors and nurses are coming out of retirement and giving up their time. Countries and states are sharing equipment and personnel across the borders. No more divisiveness. I love this. Germany, for example, is taking patients from Italy as well as France via Germany's Air Force transport system, Air Force transporting patients to German hospitals. So what signs do you see of the great awakening of humanity? I'm inviting you to look for them and give thanks for them, because we have the power within us as we look for them and give thanks for them to not only draw it up from within ourselves, but to draw it from up within the collective, because we're all connected. So we are in the process, I am claiming right here and right now, of the great awakening of humanity. You can be a full participant by honoring liminal space, and we do that through our meditation practice, through the silence, giving our some time to contemplate, our forgiveness work, living in trust, waiting patiently with an open heart, where transformation takes place. We can also be a full participant in the Great Awakening by wisely moving through this global initiation by reaching out to one another in spiritual community, participating in spiritual community. And we also can participate in this Great Awakening of humanity by focusing on and giving thanks for those who are awakening to the truth of their own being, which is love and service. So let's turn within in prayer. So knowing that God is all there is, one infinite source, presence, power, love universal itself, I know that I am all life is, everyone is. We all are. individualizations of that one, made in the likeness and image of the one life God. And therefore we have within us this thing called the God seed, that potential to blossom and grow into and to ever unfold the divine nature that we are. I know that we have here before us everything that we could possibly need, or within us, everything we could possibly need to move through this time of global initiation, this through, and to take advantage of this thing called liminal space. As we release all that doesn't serve us, as we embrace who we are in truth. And I also know that as we open our eyes and see through the eyes of God and see one another through the eyes of love, that we will see everywhere good and more good unfolding and showing up from people all over the planet, from countries all over the world that are moving beyond the borders in full support of one another. I know that we are the full participants in the great awakening of humanity. I give my thanks for this truth. I give my thanks for the fulfillment of this word through the power of a universal law that only knows yes, that acts in the affirmative. And I release this word into the universal law of mind in full awareness that all I need to do now is breathe, relax, be patient, trust, and allow it to be so. And so it is. And so it is.
And
Thank
so
you,
it is.
everyone. And Sharon is on next. She's going to be offering a beautiful solo to support the talk.